Yo, what's up guys? We're back with another video today. And guys, UFC 311 Islam Makhachev versus Tsarukyan2 is happening this weekend. And I'm going to be giving my full card predictions for the whole card from prelims to main card. I'm actually so excited for this card, guys. This card is amazing. Even the prelims are really good, honestly. Like, the first fight, I'm pretty sure, is, like, a ranked opponent, which is kind of crazy for, the first fight on the whole card. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Tagir Alibekov versus Clayton Carpenter. And yes, I did say that name correct, guys. I am going to be working on pronouncing the fighters' names more correctly. But with this fight, guys, a lot of people are picking Tagir Alibekov to win this fight. But I don't know. I feel like his last fight was in 2023. He hasn't been doing, I know he's probably been in, a training camp, obviously, because I'm pretty sure he had, a canceled fight this year. But still, guys, he hasn't, actually, fought someone in, a whole year. So, I feel like the inactivity is going to play a big factor in this. And he's also 33. We can't forget about that. Whereas Clayton Carpenter, he's undefeated. He's very young. He's about to head into his prime. And he's been fighting a lot more active than Tagir has. So, I'm going to go with Clayton Carpenter by decision. Alright, next fight we have Ricky Terceros versus Brendo Sopa. Now, this fight actually was supposed to happen back at UFC Vegas 100, and I did make a video on that. That was one of my first videos on this channel, guys. Not that great. The quality wasn't that great, but I think I had the same prediction. I think I had Brandon Sopa winning this fight, or I think I had Ricky. I'm not really too sure about it. Regardless, I think Sopa is going to win this fight. He fought Vinicius Oliveira on, I think it was a short notice. I'm not 100% sure on that, guys. And it was somewhat competitive up until he got KO'd by a flying knee on the head. So, you can't really, it is what it is for that. And I also don't think Ricky Terceros is that good, honestly. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards, Sopa winning this fight. And I, for some reason, just have a feeling he's going to TKO him at some point in the fight. I have no clue. I have no evidence towards this. I just think he's going to TKO him in, the second round or something like that. Yeah, I'll go with, second round TKO or something like that. That's what I'm going to go with for this fight. Alright, we have Rina Nakamura versus Nume Gafuru. Honestly, I don't get the hype with Rina. To be honest, I don't think he's bad or anything. I think he's decent, but he hasn't fought any high competition, including this fight. I could see Guferov get the win here, but I don't know. This is just another one of those fights which it's too early for their careers. Guferov's what? He's got more than 20 fights in his career, so he's probably had experience, but I don't know. It's hard for me to pick with this one, but I'm going to go with Rina by decision because I just think Gufero is just so terrible. He's actually horrible, and I do not see this guy ever being elite, ever. Carla Rosa versus Alan Perez. I was very tempted, guys, to pick Alan Perez. I'm not going to lie. I am very, very tempted to pick her, and I feel like I might regret this pick, guys. I think I might regret this pick, but I'm gonna go with Carla Rosa by decision. I don't think neither one of these two are gonna finish each other. If I were to pick Alan Perez, it'd be by decision as well. I think Carla Rosa has more experience. It's just better overall than Alan Perez. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Alan Perez is actually going on a title run. If she wins this fight, I'll be on the hype train, I guess, if there even is one. But I don't really see much between these two, so I'm going to go with Carla Rosa by decision. Alright, my GOAT, Zachary Reeves versus Amza Bakuv. You guys may not know this, but I actually really like this guy. I honestly think he's a legitimate prospect. Now, I understand he got TKO'd by Cody Brundage. That's not a good sign, guys. That's not a good sign to get TKO'd by Cody Brundage. But at the same time, that was a headbutt. The dude, Cody Brundage literally lifted him because Zachary Reeves, I think, had a submission on him, a leg lock. And then Cody Brundage lifts him up and then just slams him in the octagon, and he's just out cold. But after that, Zachary Reeves actually looked pretty good in his last couple fights, and I think it's gonna be the same here. I think Zachary Reeves has underrated power, and I think he's gonna KO Amza Bekov in round one. I'm gonna be straight up honest, especially since this is a short notice fight. I think it's gonna be more likely, to be honest. But who knows? I could be wrong in this. I think maybe Amza has a bigger advantage since it's a short notice like fight, but I don't know. I think Zachary Reeves is like a lot more serious and is a better fighter than Amza, to be honest. So I'm gonna go with round 1 KO by Zachary Reeves. Underrated fight right here, guys. Underrated fight. Grant Dawson versus Diego Ferreira. This is actually such an underrated fight right here, guys. I feel like people are not talking about this fight as nearly as much as they should. Grant Dawson, did he get knocked out by Bobby Green? Yes. Is Diego Ferreira very old? Yes. But these guys have been really good, especially in like 2024. They have been on a really good run last year. And I feel like whoever wins this should fight a ranked opponent. I think, personally, I think it's going to be Grant Dawson. I think he's going to win this fight. Simply put, because for one, he's much younger. He's like 30 years old, so he's in his prime, I'd say. And I think he's a better wrestler. Not better like submission guy, but I think he's his wrestler. He's going to take Diego down. He's going to control him. And he's going to do like some shots on him. And I think he's going to like dominate him in the first round. Pause. And then in the second round, I think it's going to be more of a scrap. But then Grant Dawson's going to be able to like get him and take him down to the ground. And he's going to like land some body shots or like headshots. You know what I mean? And then he's going to TKO him with just throwing a barrage of just like shots. I could see this going another way, guys. I could see Diego Ferreira winning this. But I just feel like Grant Dawson's going to do it. Like there's a certain point, like your old age just catches up to you. No matter how old you are. Unless you're like Yoel Romero, who's just like, he's made in the labs or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think Diego Ferreira has that in him. I think he's just getting a bit too old in my opinion. And we can't forget this guy was like on what, 2-fight losing streak, 3-fight losing streak before he went on a great run last year. So nah. And it's also Diego Ferreira hasn't been like that much good competition besides Mateusz Rebecki. That's actually a pretty solid win to have, but I think Grant Dawson has just been better competition and as far as like recently goes, and I think that he's just more skilled overall. So I'm gonna go with Grant Dawson by TKO in round 2. Volkan Gustav versus Billy Ankrina. I'm gonna go with Volkan Gustav by round 2 TKO, guys. I think Volkan Gustav is actually really good, and I'm actually more happy with this fight than the one with Johnny Walker, because I did not want to see Johnny Walker get KO'd in a cartoonish fashion for like the 3rd time in a row now. I think Volkan Gustav is honestly just really good. I think he's actually going to be, I don't think he's championship material, but I think he's actually going to be like a top contender soon. And I don't see Billy Aklon like being anywhere near as good as Volkan Gustav, especially on a short week notice, because Gustav has some crazy KO power. So I could see this being a first round knockout, but I went with the safe option that they're going to be more or less like timid to try and hit each other in the first round. And then the second round, Gustav catches him, and then Billy's like hurt. He tries to move away, and then Gustav's going to like keep punching him, and then he's going to TKO him in the second round. So that's what I'm going to go with. Gustav by round 2 TKO. Gelton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. Guys, I've seen the Tom Aspinall clip where he just says Sergey Spivak, and it just sticks in my head so many times. It's so funny. But yeah, this fight, Gelton Almeida is going to submit Sergey Spivak in like the first round. I'm going to be straight up honest. I don't see, maybe Sergey can do it. Maybe he can like do some like fluke submission win, because he is somewhat of a grappler. He is a good grappler. Like, these are two of the best submission guys outside of, like, Tom Aspinall and John Jones in the division. But I think Gelton Almeida is levels ahead of Sergey Spivak when it comes to the grappling. And he's also not fat, and he's also not out of shape. Like, Spivak's not, like, fat or anything. Like you can slightly see the abs in the picture, guys, on the screen. But I just don't think he's that good, honestly. I don't think Sergey Spivak's, like, going to be championship material. Maybe he proves us all wrong and he submits Gelton Almeida, which would be an amazing win to have, because Gelton Almeida is like a crazy like submission guy. He took down Curtis Blades in the first round and dominated him. I feel like people forget about that. But yeah, I'm going to go with Gelton Almeida by round 1 submission. Payne Talbot versus Ronnie Barcelos. Yeah, I'm going to go with Payne Talbot by like round 3 KO. Hot take, I know. Like, wow, picking Payne Talbot to win a fight. But here's the thing. I don't think he's going to knock him out in the first round. I could see that. But I'm going to go with the bold prediction that Payne Talbot's going to play with him for a little bit, mess around with him, and then in the third round actually locks in and KOs him. Probably like in the beginning of the third round. I don't see Ronaldo winning this fight in any shape or form. There's just no way for him to win this. He's just way too old, and Payne Talbot's like arguably in his prime. I think Paddy Talbo has one of the most underrated striking in the entire division, guys. I really do. And I don't know why they gave him this fight. I feel like he should have fought like a top 15 ranked opponent or something like that, because he is really good. I remember what he did to Cayman Simon. Cayman Simon was actually pretty decent, and then Payne Talba comes in there and destroys him. Like, it was actually so brutal to watch. I just don't know why they're making this fight. I feel like Payne Talba should be fighting people way better than Renato. Not to be like disrespectful to him, but like, he's just not on the same level as Payne Talba. I'm gonna be straight up honest. But with that being said, I think Payne Talba's gonna mess around with him for a little bit and then lock in the third round and KO him. Alright, now we are finally on the main card, guys. Kevin Holland versus Reinier de Ridder, or RDR. Oh, I'm so tempted to pick Kevin Holland, guys. I really am. I am not confident when I say I'm gonna pick RDR to win this fight, because I could just see Kevin Holland just like locking in and like actually win the fight. But it's so hard with Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's career recently has been so terrible. Like, he's really good, but he just doesn't try, and that's why he keeps losing, I feel. And also the fact that he broke his rib against Roman Dolidze back in October, and now he's fighting in January again. Kind of weird if you have a broken rib back in October and now you're fighting in January. That's all I'm gonna say. And here's the thing, RDR, I saw this from Bedtime MMA's video, thinking that like RDR's the next Dricus du Plessis, and I can kind of see it. He gassed out pretty badly and he fights like horrible. Like, he doesn't really have any technique. But that's kind of why I'm picking him, because of his like weird style is gonna confuse Kevin Holland. And I also think he's just a better grappler than Kevin Holland is. Now on the feet, if RDR tries to strike with Kevin Holland, which I don't think he's going to obviously do, he's getting knocked out. He's going to lose to Kevin Holland. But I'm assuming RDR is like actually going to like try and submit him, because that's where he thrives in when it comes to MMA. But I think he's going to have a little bit of some struggle with him in like the beginning of the round. But I think as the rounds keep going, RDR is going to eventually get the submission in round 3. So that's what I'm going to go with. RDR by submission in round 3. Alright, Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano, guys. I love Renato Moicano, guys. Renato Moicano is one of my favorite fighters right now. He's just so funny. And I'm staying on the hype train with Renato Moicano. I'm going with Moicano by decision. I don't think he's gonna try. It's weird, guys, because there are guys above Beneil Dariush that are easier fights for Renato. But Beneil's style is very tricky for Renato. And when this fight first got announced, I was a little bit confused about it, but the more I kept looking into it, the more I was like, oh wait, Beneil actually is a legitimate challenge for Renato, because for one, he's legitimately good when it comes to the scrambling. He's got underrated KO power, and I don't think Renato's like chinny or something like that, but when, you get like dropped by Jalen Turner, and knocked out by Rafael Fiziev, it does put a little bit of a question mark. But even then, when he got dropped by Jalen Turner, he recovered very well and then won the fight by TKO. So I don't think he's gonna get knocked out by Beneil, and I don't think that I think Renato will be able to like get him to the ground. I don't think he's gonna like dominate him on the ground, because Beneil's got great scrambles, but I do think he's gonna be able to do enough to win like the rounds, like just barely. It's very tricky with this fight. I can see a world where Beneil does win this, because for one, actually, normally when fighters take a long layoff, it's not good. But for Beneil, I think this was actually a benefit for him, because he got TKO'd in his last 2 fights badly by both Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. So I think this is actually a good idea for him to take a year off. And, it's really hard for me. I'm going to stick with Renato Moicano, and I think he's going to win this by decision. But it's really hard for me to imagine how this fight goes, because it's very close for both of these guys, to be honest. But I'm going to stick to the gun and pick Renato Moicano by decision. Now, one of the most anticipated fights on this card, Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. I cannot wait for this fight. I have seen a lot of people pick Jamal Hill, and I do understand, because he is a better striker than Yuri Prochazka is, but I just don't see it. I'm sticking with Yuri. I really can't see Yuri losing. I think Jamal Hill doesn't have that crazy power. Like, for one, let's look at the one guy that they both fought recently, Glover Teixeira. Yuri Prochazka went to war with Glover Teixeira and was arguably losing on the scorecards had he not gotten that submission. And Jamal Hill destroyed Glover Teixeira, basically 54-5'd him. But here's the thing. Yuri was the one who fought Glover first. Jamal Hill fought a Glover who was arguably being down by Yuri Prochazka. I think after the fight with Yuri, Glover was not the same. I know it was like one fight after, but still, you get what I mean. And I also think that Yuri has better power. He has more options to knock out Jamal Hill or beat him than Jamal Hill does. If Jamal Hill beats Yuri, I think it's going to be by decision or something like that. I just think that Yuri, even though he got cracked really badly by Alex Pereira, that's Alex Pereira. Like, this guy's power can literally knock out any person. We saw that Rakij hit some bombs on Yuri, and yet Yuri was able to survive. And I think Jamal Hill has overrated power. He's a better striker than Yuri, but I think that Yuri's gonna find a way to, like, I think it's gonna be like this. I think that Jamal Hill's gonna piece him up in the first round, similar to how him and Rakij went. But then in the second round, Yuri starts to catch up, and he starts to hurt Jamal Hill. And because of his unorthodox style and how he fights and all that, he's gonna be able to hurt Jamal Hill and then TKO him in the second round. And that's what I'm picking with. I am going with Yuri Prochazka, round 2 by TKO. I'm so worried about this fight. Even though I'm confident that Yuri's going to win, I'm still worried at the same time, guys. I really don't want to see Jamal Hill win and be so salty and all that stuff. I'm going to lose my mind. I might crash out. I'm probably not. I'm joking. But I'm going to go with Yuri Prochazka by round 2 TKO. Alright, co-main event. Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I want to pick Merab so bad. I don't like Umar, but I cannot go against like some of these elite Dagestanians. I'm done. I'm no longer listening to my heart. I'm listening to my brain. I picked Volkanovski in the second fight to beat Islam. He got knocked out. I picked Oliveira to beat Arman. He lost. I picked Robert Whittaker to beat Khamzat. This was before I made videos, guys. And Robert Whittaker got submitted. I'm done picking with my heart. I'm going with logic. I think Umar's going to win this fight by decision. I do think that Umar's going to have a tough fight with Merab. I do think Merab's a better overall wrestler. And I think Merab's cardio will definitely play a key factor in this. I don't think Umar has terrible cardio by no means. But I think, especially in the later rounds, Merab's cardio will definitely catch up. And I think Umar will win like the first 3 rounds, and I think Merab's gonna win like the other 2 because of his cardio. I think if Merab were to somehow win this, it would be by wrestling because he does not want to try and strike with Umar because Umar is a good striker. Not the best, but he's a decent striker, and he also has great kickboxing. I really don't want to pick Umar, guys, but I have to pick him. Umar by decision, 48-47 for all the scorecards. That's what I'm going to go with. And finally, main event, Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. This is, I think, the most exciting fight on this card because when this fight first got announced, I wasn't that excited. I was thinking, oh, Islam's gonna beat Arman. I didn't think at the time Arman posed any threats. But as time's gone on and I've looked at their past fights, I've realized Arman's actually pretty legit. And I think that fight with Charles Oliveira was just like, it's Charles Oliveira. And I think Charles Oliveira's style is a really difficult one for Arman. But when Arman style fights Islam style, I think that's actually a much tougher fight for Islam than it is for Arman. But with that being said, I am going to pick Islam by decision. I don't think neither one of these guys are going to finish each other. I think it's going to be a back and forth war. I don't know who's going to have the advantages. I think the one major advantage that Islam's going to have is the striking. I think he's got better striking and boxing than Arman does. But I think Arman has better kicks than Islam does. And as far as the wrestling goes, I think it's a tie, to be honest. I think this is going to be like, a split decision win for Islam. That's why I actually think. I don't think it's going to be unanimous. I think it's going to be a split decision. Some judges will think one way, some judges will think the other. But I overall think it will be Islam Makhachev defeating Arman Tsarukyan by 48-47, guys. But guys, that is my full card predictions for UFC 311, Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan 2. Let me know what you guys have your predictions for. leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!